I've heard the elderly people say when the sun is real hot, when the weather is real hot, they always say, "Kuyaw sitakan, kuyaw sitakan." When the climate is real hot, that's how I've always heard the elderly people. I dealt with a lot of elderlies. I was just lucky, you know. I was commercial fishing, and I tried to distribute whatever fish I catch. Sometimes halibut, sometimes deer. If I shoot it off the beach, I give it to the elderly. And they always thank me, and they try to talk to me a lot in Tlingit. That's where I kind of learned a little from them. Not little, I learned a lot from them. Yeah, it was good to talk with the elderly people. It really is really something. But living here in the city, I'm starting to forget a lot of words in Tlingit. And when we were translating with Ishmael, we had problem translating trying to translate those hard jawbreakers they were using. I swam in the winter time, but that was a bad mistake. We were trapping. My brother-in-law had a good-sized boat, and he used a cannonball for the anchor to pull it overboard from the bow. I pushed the boat out, and I tried to pull the cannonball overboard. It had a ring on it with the line going through it. And when you pull it overboard, it slides to the deep side. It keeps the boat out in the deep side of away from the beach. I yanked it, and the line snapped. The ice, I don't know how thick it was. I started yelling, and here comes my brother-in-law running, tearing his clothes off. Snow was about that deep on the ground where we were trapped. He was tearing his clothes off, and then I was tearing my clothes off too. The only thing I had on was my shorts, and I tore my stockings off, and he jumped in before I did. He swam about from here to that refrigerator, and he circled back. He said, "I'm catching cramps." But I kept on swimming out. The ice was taking that boat out real fast. There's a strong tide runs through that area. I couldn't catch up with it. The boat was moving too fast. I swam a long ways out. Then I looked back, and boy, that's what scared me. My arms are getting heavy too, and I was wondering how I was going to make it back. My clothes was about the hair, and by the time I reached the shore, swam back to the shore, the tide took me down quite a ways. But I had to swim along the shoreline to get to my clothes because the snow is deep. I couldn't walk barefoot on the snow. I was all right being in the water, but when I got out, that was the hardest part. Start shaking, shivering. I couldn't even get my clothes on. I was having a hard time putting it. The hardest part was trying to put on my boots. After I got all my clothes and boots on, I started running back and forth on the beach in the snow. But I took a long time before I got warm. So that was, I didn't know anything about that. What do you call
it? Hypothermia?
We didn't know anything about it. Crazy. Here, hypothermia killed people, you know, and I didn't know the first thing about it. Here I was swimming through ice. Real thin layer of ice, but the tide was too swift.
That's Skani.
We walked about 3 to 4 miles, I think, to a place called Portage Bay. We got there, we saw somebody rowing out to their boat. We were yelling, screaming, they finally heard us. They came back after us. They took us into town. Here I had my own boat in town. We started looking for the boat, but it got dark on us. Couldn't find the boat. Finally got daylight on us while we were out there. Here it was all dried up on the beach. Yeah, that was the last time I trapped.
Wow.
A lot of wolves there.
Could you tell us in Tlingit, let's say, so you guys are both fishermen, a guy gets up and he goes out in the morning and he's looking out at the ocean and the weather to see what it's going to do. Could you describe something like that in Tlingit?
Sure.
And we don't need any...
But I've heard of a story my brother told us. There's this old man that used to go along with them. He was a good friend of my father's. His name was Kuchit. And everywhere they went, he was always along with them. He had his own boat. I think at that time it was somewhere by Pillar Bay. He set up his own tent and alongside of my father's. He woke up and he looked out. He put his tent, one end of his tent up to look at the weather. Here there's a deer standing on the beach. While he was laying down, he put a shell in that rifle. In laying position, he shot the deer. Asteich, dag yakwakuchu, shukunach, Khutida also under Lingít. The Koyati Kag Hintu Ko Schridi. Ook den at takt nuch gaat Hintu Ko Schridi. De kiet na hinch. Atjawa Ko Schrido at under Lingít Kuti. Kuti Kag out Kokunda His engine siachati at Kaji Chag, Chayao at Dukhanach. Na Lady Akuya Naguene Ko Sissa at Akatu teach, sail. Yao at Kokunda Yidat Ko just you could reach go engine kakwaji ho. Hedach teach it cheese that at Langauge at kun mile 6 hour the nitach pillar be kateben ka there Langauge. No such a thing as fish finder. A chunch chan ha in you qasli at ka in a kani shugu a stecht a kasugu hel ke at u stecht rechat dayak dayak ja ana da goos. Yida de Kao Koha Fish Finder Kadeo Gachtin Gachtiskuanach so Tet Khat at Chaye Kacho at Nahin Chat herons and sardines. Yao Khashat aye uti Telkhat aye qati Ya khashat aye ti qas akhaw akhin khat Ida de qaws qaye agkhsaku Fish finder kakhat Lingít kun feed khsa nakake this quick fish finder card. Yeah, at Langauge and Jog, head just at the Khan. That the cow cuts 30 to 40 miles an hour at Suaku at Langauge. Kotikako at Langauge. Yeah, Kruske Kotus Kayet Kader Langauge. Yeah, in Wanachtak Kahuanik Ade at the Stech no Jay. Dat is een gedi zagen. Ja, te gaat de shaan goed het heeft zo steeg dag. Heeft zo steeg dag. Groen. But this whole thing is nothing but our fishing trips. We caught so much, my son and I caught so much halibut one time from Gambia, but we couldn't even play now on our boat. I had to climb up on the bow, lay on the bow, and that's the only time it took off with us. all that the kadakeo to chat kagate ko to jet.
Okay.
The fish were so big, we were shooting them. All the pictures in here, all our trip that we made, salmon derby and everything.
Okay.
But I'm gonna write. I'll write them in three words at a time for you.
Okay.
Then the next one, I'll make it maybe 4 words. I'll keep getting harder, but you won't have any problem. I can see that you'll learn fast.